All right, welcome to Y Space.
Hey, y'all.
Happy when you listen to this, April.
April Fools.
It's true. It's true. Are you an April Fool's Day fan? It feels like that would not fit for you. Yeah.
It's really a good reminder for me to have a chat with my children of like, hey, we don't do April Fool's Day jokes at school.
Yeah.
I know you think it's funny, but your teachers don't.
Yep. Yeah, Judd loves a good April Fool's Day joke, but it never happens on the day of. Probably sometime around June, he'll be like, I have this great idea for April Fool's Day.
Yeah.
And then
I remember, I think Ryder might have been in 4th or 5th grade. And I don't remember what he did at school on April Fool's. And we got a call from the teacher. And I just remember laying into him when he got home. Like, what were you thinking? And then he was like, well, Mom, it was April. Like, you have to do something on April Fool's. And I was like, no, you don't. That's not a thing.
Judd always really wants to prank Aaron, and
nice.
He's just not really the prankable one. He doesn't like to get somebody to scare him, and usually Judds are really not well thought out, so they're going to be a mess. And so it's just
if you want to do something at home, but please don't go out into the public and try and do something out there.
Yeah, that's not act a fool. Yeah. Well, and as luck would have it, this week here is what do you call it? Star testing.
Oh yeah,
it's a great week for that. Seems like great.
Yikes! Yeah, I think our kids do that two more weeks. They start with that.
Man, I do not miss school one lick.
No, and I keep trying. From being a former teacher, I understand how much they beat this state testing into you, but also as being a parent, I'm like, listen, it doesn't matter. Just do your best.
Yeah.
We're not stressing about
this. This is our first year in public school, obviously. And so I do kind of think about it differently, because I know doesn't some of your funding and things like that, doesn't that kind of play into the testing?
It can. I think they're starting to get away from it a little bit. Yeah. But it does play into it some. But listen, you've got to be really below grade level for it to affect your funding.
Yeah. And probably if you're that low, you probably should have some restraints put on you. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Glad I'm not a kid. Listen, we got some entertainment news to talk about. And
I'm looking at this first couple of bullet points that I had not heard about. So we need to discuss.
Yeah. So full disclosure, I did not do a great job on the notes this week for Becca. I pretty much just put the questions in and one small tidbit for her and then just left it. That pretty much explains my life right now. But this morning I was in a meeting that, those meetings that could have been an email, but then they still drag on. Yeah. Yep. I was in one of those. And so I was like, I'm going to check out the old Twitter, update the notes.
Folks.
As it turns out, there are some things that have happened. So apparently, and I do not know how to pronounce the name of this person, but Kanye went on a person's podcast. His initials are AK, if that helps. It's I don't know. Anyway, so they videoed him arriving at the podcast, and he shows up wearing a Sean John shirt, first of all. So we're just going to come right in with the ditty, right?
Okay.
And then, of course, the swastika necklace, as you do.
One does.
So, but when the actual interview takes place and is filmed, he put on a black leather KKK, what do you call it? Uniform thing?
Like their robe?
Yeah. Pointy hat, the whole 9 yards. Okay, so that's a vibe. And the whole interview was as chaotic as you would expect, but there were some tidbits that came out of this. Number one, he came out and said that about 2 to 3 months into his marriage with Kim Kardashian, he realized he didn't want to have kids with her. Now, as you will recall, they do have 4 children together.
A few.
Yeah. So, can you imagine being a kid and reading that on the internet?
Right.
That seems real fantastic for your, self-esteem. Probably no therapy necessary.
And their kids see all of this.
Oh, yeah, especially North. I mean, as I've said before on here, I have very grave concerns for Northwest mental health, because I do think she's more like her dad than probably anyone would want. But Listen, we know that I am not a Kim Kardashian fan, but I got to be honest, I feel sorry for her with this situation with him.
100%. I can't fathom. I mean, you're one of the most well-known celebrities. I think with North, she was exposed to them in the home together, and Kanye always being around and his up and down fluctuations with his mental health. So I do think that she has a little bit longer of a road. I don't envy Kim trying to protect them at all. And I'm, whatever school that they go to, all the famous kids go to. So everybody knows everybody's mama and daddy's business. And I'm sure when you're being mean, you're using that against kids. So bringing them up. But I can't, on the one hand, I'm like, who is still giving Kanye a platform? But on the other hand, you're like, it's people that want to get their name out there too. So they're using him.
And this is going to come up later in the show too. This, like, I don't know what you call it. Like, maybe I would call it like the shock mentality kind of thing.
Shock value.
Yeah, it's just not my lane. But he also, of course, went on a very long diatribe about all the Diddy stuff and was essentially saying that the general public is now trying to do to Drake what we did to Diddy. I feel like perhaps maybe Diddy did some things. It wasn't really us doing anything to him, but okay. And he like went on this big thing about how, Drake is way better than Kendrick. Like, okay, my guy, if that was the truth, wouldn't the records show that? Like, they don't.
But I think it shows, where was Kanye when everything first started coming out about Diddy? You weren't jumping on his bandwagon then. You're now jumping on it because you're like, oh, this is shock value. I can jump on this now and start getting attention because Bianca's not getting you the attention that you want anymore. When you start going after Kim in the media, people aren't jumping to your aid as much as they used to. So what can we do now to kind of keep my name out there? Because I do think that he's having to do whatever he personally can to keep his name out there and to do his own PR, because I do think a lot of companies are like, we're absolutely not putting our name with you.
Well, and I mean, the music he's putting out, first of all, most often it gets pulled back down because he's extrapolated without permission.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the stuff that he puts out is just not great. It's weird. So I don't know. I'm not a Kim apologist, but I do feel for her situation. But also, speaking of shock value, Jessica Simpson is like back in the media now.
She get divorced and you're like, let me try what I used to do.
Let me suddenly have a country music career again. And so she did an interview and mentioned that for her voice, to protect her vocal cords, she's now begun drinking snake sperm.
I have questions.
So, I mean, my very first just logistical question is, how exactly do we extrapolate that from a snake?
Which is a fair question. I also like, who are you around that was like, what would help? But then also, like, did she ask follow-up questions? Like, how do you know? Where's the research? Or did we just jump on board and we're like, yeah, obviously that seems weird. That would help.
So And also, like, I have questions about, first of all, I'm terrified of snakes, like 100%. Absolutely petrified. So, I mean, I don't want them anywhere near me. And the thought of putting something of them into me seems very, very foreign, not what I would do.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This is just a note for you guys. If you are looking into a music career and you're having some vocal cord issues, perhaps carefully, I would suggest you could extract some snake sperm. And
listen, we're not doctors. We're not telling you to do this, but do some research on it. See if that helps you. Have you ever heard of any other musical artist that's doing something like this?
No.
So I feel like I wouldn't want to be the first one to jump on and like be the poster child of this experiment. And if we're being like, do we know what it does to her singing voice? Like, is it supposed to strengthen your vocal cord? Because she still sounds the same.
Which, I mean,
were you great before?
I was going to say, were you a fan previously?
No. Her and Nick, their sound was just never my vibe.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Again, I would advise caution because, again, I'm not quite sure about like the process in which you would gather that material. But I would Yeah,
I
please.
don't think that's like an Amazon purchase.
But nowadays, you never know. Probably on Etsy. It's probably on Etsy. Also, speaking of singers, Morgan Wallen,
Was it?
of course, was on Saturday Night Live this weekend. I did not watch it. I
haven't watched it either.
Candidly not a Morgan Wallen fan. But apparently at the end, you know how they all come out on stage and everybody waves and all the cast is talking. He just like walks off.
Yeah.
And he looks pretty pissed. And then he literally right then posts on Instagram like a picture of his tour bus or whatever, and it says, "Take me to God's country."
Yeah.
That's not going over very well. Yeah, it's I mean, it's not like throwing a chair off a balcony in Nashville. It's not that bad, but
I don't think he did anything wrong.
it seems very much like something you might do as well. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, listen, he did his job. He was done.
I finished what I was here to do. It's a lot of talking. I'm out.
Yeah. You know, like for SNL, they always do like the promo snippets for the commercials and stuff with the musical guests and whoever the presenter is going to be, the host. Even in those clips that we were getting, like he did not look like he wanted to be there. And I think it was like his personality probably didn't vibe with that group well. So that was kind of a thing. But then like at the end, when usually like they're saying goodbye and then everybody stands on the stage and mingles, I think I had seen where he had said like, or one of his assistants or somebody had said like, that's what he did all week in practice. Like as soon as they were finished, the credits rolled, that's where he walked off stage. And so that was normal. Here's my thing. Like the guy was there to do his job. His job was done. He didn't need to small talk with those people on stage. Like,
you know, it is very, they have a very infamous after party every weekend after the show. And of course, this means he canceled or he didn't go. I wondered if perchance, and I hope this for him, maybe he's like trying the sober thing.
Maybe.
And he's like, I need to get out of here. Like,
it's possible.
I don't know. It would be a great thing. I did not have you being a Morgan Wallen apologist on a bingo card for 2025, but
out of all the things that he's done, I feel like this is not newsworthy.
Okay, well, we'll go with that.
It's weird. I'm not taking away from that. It was weird. No one else does that, but like, I also personality-wise, I get it. I'd want to be too.
Becca's clearly already in the bus leaving town. Yeah, like already happened.
Yep.
Well, the Biebs, Justin Bieber. What could be said about Justin Bieber these days? Well,
not this.
He's I mean, here's the thing. Dude's got to be on some drugs right now. Over the weekend, he was very manic on social media, just coming in with lives, very out of it. I believe our guy might be using his nose for some things that he should not be, is all I'm saying.
Or do we know if he has like mental health conditions that maybe they're trying to like regulate medication?
Ooh, I don't know. I hope that's going to be the excuse. Because otherwise, wow.
Yeah.
So he went kind of like chaotic on social media, went as far as to call Haley Jezebel.
Not a good move, dude.
And then he took down his social media, and then he put his social media back up, and now Haley has unfollowed him.
Oh.
So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if this new Selena Gomez, Benny Blanco album has really set him off. I don't know what we're dealing with here.
I will say it does seem to be, there seems to be an uptick in like his, I don't know if they're manic episodes or just more posting and more issues. There's an uptick when Selena's doing really well or things are happening with Selena. And that's very interesting to me because we are several years removed from when they were together.
Like a long time, like about 7 years now.
Yeah. And I know as much as like their fans on each side still say things and like whatever the case, because they haven't moved on, like you still have to be adult enough to be like, okay, but this is my family and my relationship. Like I'm not going to take it. Yeah. It's just weird.
Well, and I mean, yeah, it's just the whole thing is weird. You have a baby now. I did check because Nosey's my middle name. I did check and Haley is still following Selena, but she's not following Justin. So maybe she's even picking sides. I don't know. I'm sure they'll be all loved up on social media again by the end of the day, but I'm worried about Bieber. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. And he went through that where he was cutting a whole bunch of people out and maybe surrounding. And I was like, maybe this is good for him. But I feel like maybe he's just not surrounding himself with people that are like, my God, let's get you into a doctor, get you, checked out. Which, listen, if I was a celebrity and I had a friend telling me, let's get you into a doctor, I'm probably going to be worried too because of all this like conservatorship. And then everybody gets crazy and you got to worry about that.
Yeah.
So,
now he is somebody that might be a good consideration. I don't know. Also, like, I was thinking about this because he's allegedly in the studio, so maybe he's going to put out some new music. It's been a long time.
it's been a real long time.
But still has a lot of money.
I mean, I do wonder where because he's got that clothing brand, right, Drew?
You think that's bringing in enough to support this lifestyle?
I don't know. I think Haley brings in a lot of money.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think her business alone, but then I guess like her family money too. I don't know. It's just, I worry about the Biebs. And, honestly, again, what is wrong with me today? I'm not a Haley apologist either.
Right.
But that's a lot. Like, you just had this guy's kid. Like,
I think the human mother side comes out in these situations. Like, I don't like you in general, but I do sympathize with like, you're trying to navigate this in the public eye while also she's still postpartum. Like,
oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, and I just have to say, I mean, because I do have to remain true to myself, even though I feel a little off today. I mean, karma is a B word sometimes. So good lesson for everyone. Treat people with kindness because you never know what's going to happen.
Yes.
Well, there was some Grey's Anatomy news I read about today.
What?
Sandra Oh did an interview that was in People magazine. And, for however long she's been off the show now, probably 15 years. She has always had a hard no on returning. That her character had its storyline, it was over, done. She was absolutely against it. Now, however, she has changed her tune a bit and is saying she understands that the love of the character that the audience has is now making her say, and I quote, how does it make you feel as our resident Grey's Anatomy expert?
I mean, I really liked her character. I liked her relationship with Meredith. I think you could bring her back. I wouldn't want her as a regular again, just because the dynamic is a little crazy. However, I can see how they're writing Owen Hunt right now. I could see where they could bring her in for that. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but also I think, listen, she probably sees, I can get one heck of a paycheck right here.
Yeah, talk about individuals for life.
Why not? And I'm sure like back when she left, there's always been turmoil behind the scenes, as one would imagine with 21 seasons of a show. Like everybody's got an opinion. You're real comfortable at that point to speak your mind. So now that she's all these several years removed, I'm sure she's like, well, maybe some of those things weren't a big deal, or maybe I overreacted or they overreacted, like whatever. So I would love to see her come back and do a couple of guest spots.
I didn't have this in the notes, but I recently caught some of, not the entire, but a pretty large chunk of the clips from Call Her Daddy when she had Ellen Pompeo on. She's weird.
Yeah, she's a little different.
Yeah, I don't know that I have ever separated Meredith Grey from Ellen Pompeo, because I don't know that I've really ever seen much of her in anything else, if anything that I can think of. So I think in my mind, she's just Meredith Grey.
Yeah.
But she was on Call Her Daddy, and she was definitely not Meredith Grey. It was weird. I don't know.
No, I don't. Yeah, there's a lot of these characters that I love their shows, but like when it's them in real life, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to watch because I still really want to enjoy your show.
Yeah, of course.
Don't take that away from me.
1 year later, you still do. Yeah. Okay. Also, Little House on the Prairie casting call. Have you heard about this?
Well, I keep seeing people like repost. I think, was it Melanie Schenkel had reposted something, or Sophie, one of them.
Yeah,
and I was like, what's happening?
Well, apparently there's a casting call in Hollywood for a remake of Little House on the Prairie, and Jennifer Garner reposted it with the hand raise emoji volunteering. And you know what? I think that would be a perfect casting right there.
Yes. That was like the only show we were allowed to watch.
How do you feel though, here in the year 2025 of our Lord, Little House on the Prairie vibes again?
I mean, you'd have to have a known cast and also a real good storyline to make that relevant, because the setting of that show, you're not getting new viewers.
Well, and I think it would be incredibly hard to remake that show if you're trying to make it as it was back then, because you got to think of that mindset of, well, I can't have this on set because that wouldn't have existed back then. And
right.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I wonder, like, are you actually remaking it, or is it supposed to be like the storyline of like Laura Ingalls Wilder's like great grandchildren? Do you know what I mean? But then also you got to tie it back so that we see the connection too.
Yeah. And I mean, Melissa Gilbert's still alive, so is
she's still kicking?
Yeah, I mean, and maybe some of the other cast. She's just the one I know.
Yeah, she was the main one, but I bet you some of the others are still alive.
I don't know. I guess we'll see.
One of those, sometimes, like with Happy Gilmore coming out, it's one of those where you're like, I'm gonna watch the first one before the second one comes out, just to like refresher, so that if there's Easter eggs, you remember it. I don't think Little House on the Prairie is one that I'm like, I'm gonna rewatch those episodes so that I'm ready for that. Like, I can't.
No, I mean, is it still even viewable on a?
You don't even know.
Network? I don't
think I've ever seen it on a streamer or even on like TV Land that does the, you know.
I gotta be honest. I think now at 42, if I was to watch it, I think I'd be bored out of my mind.
I mean, surely they're not going to make it like TV episodes, right? It'd just be like a special movie. Like one. I don't know. I'm real interested to see how they do this, because I agree with you. I don't know that show has the pull to get an audience now.
I don't know.
Those of us that grew up watching a bunch of the episodes. And
plus, like, that's one of those ones, like, people like Michael Landon were so cornerstone to that show. Yes. To have that show without him,
it'd be weird.
Right. Well, speaking of doesn't feel right, Paramount Plus is now coming out with a docuseries called Baldani versus Lively, a Hollywood feud. Really?
Well, I mean, but all of these streamers do that. They did like a Diddy one. There's Johnny Depp ones. There's a Kim Kanye one. Like, I feel like they're doing it to
it was bound to happen, but it feels a little premature. We've not even
yes.
Like, what are we gonna? I don't know. It seems odd. Of course, I'm not interested. Those of you who are gonna put it in the questions.
And I think it's one of those things. Like, if you've kind of kept up with it in the media, what is this documentary? You're not going to have either side give interviews because there's still there's litigation is still going on. So literally, this documentary is just going to be bringing in headlines and people from TMZ. So it's nothing new.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just the whole thing. Which leads us to Taylor talk. We actually have nothing to talk about.
No sightings, no nothing.
I will say, though, we did have a little something. The Haim sisters, or two of them, Danielle and Alana's boyfriend, were outside of her apartment waiting to be let in and they had all their luggage with them, and then they were let in. So we know actually, no, we don't know she's in New York. They could be just using the place.
When you said that to me, my first thought was, they must just be staying at her house while they're in town or whatever. Because I feel like if she knew they were coming, they would not have been waiting outside.
That felt real weird. I was like, because also there's always paparazzi on that street. So to see the Haim sisters, like, whoa. Yeah. Apparently, the rumors are, which we don't speculate, but they spent some time in Montana and maybe looking for some property there. Apparently, everyone goes to Montana, and I didn't know.
Yeah, I always hear that, like, it's never one that you've got a whole bunch of paparazzi there, but then after the fact, it's like, oh yeah, they went to Montana for a quick trip or whatever.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get myself out there. I went there as a kid on a mission trip, of course. Yeah, I feel like it was probably a different vibe than what they do out there.
Yeah, maybe a little.
Yeah,
a little bit.
That does also mean we did pass March 28th. The most recent gotta be the day didn't happen. Yeah. Taylor Nation is definitely screwing with everyone. It has got to be, that has to be the funniest job on the planet now. Right? To just messing with the fans.
Let me just put this out there and see what they come up with.
Random video of Taylor as a child with the Words from Robin. Way to go, Tiger. Like, what are we doing?
No, it's just, and I mean, they 100% know what they're doing. They know that they're getting people riled up and still keeping her name out there, which is fun. I get it. I don't think we're going to get anything anytime soon. However, we are halfway through the window of when things can be nominated for Grammys. So I would imagine that maybe she'll release something within the next few months.
I don't know. I mean, because the re-records have never been nominated for anything.
Oh, well, then maybe not.
And I just do not believe. I know all these people are like, oh, the last thing they posted had 12 exclamations or 12 pictures. I just do not think we're getting TS12 immediately following TTPD.
No, and I think while yes, Taylor has always said like she loves numerology, she loves to do all that, she's also said that people come up with a lot more of those things than she ever thought about. So I think that every time she posts something, people are just digging a little too far into it. Yeah. And I get it. Like you want something to look forward to and just hope that she's going to release it. And if she does, and you came up with that Easter egg, then more power to you. But
yeah, way to go.
I just don't think it's going to happen.
We've had a lot of questions about like, oh, if you were interviewing Taylor or whatever, what would you want to ask her? Let me tell you what I'd want to ask her. I'd want to ask her, how hard do you laugh? Or how creative do you think your fans are with all of the things they dream up that you're not even thinking of? Because I
do think that they lay in bed at night going through TikToks. And I know she's watching them being like, oh, that was good. I never thought of that.
Yeah, I totally think she does. And I'm sure with the math part of it, she's like having to explain all the numbers to Travis because he's like, well, what? I think it would be amazing.
I think that would be so funny.
But yeah, we don't have anything to report right now. NFL news. Let's see.
A little bit.
So we had the coaches meeting.
We do. They are still in Florida right now, I believe.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of talk coming out of there about the tush push again.
That got real heated.
Yeah, and I just am like, well, okay. I mean, it is what it is.
That's the hill to die on. Is it effective for the Eagles? 100%. So I get you don't want that, but like just be better. I don't.
Yeah.
But apparently, so this episode will come out on Tuesday, April 1st. And apparently Tuesday, April 1st is when they will be voting on these rule changes and things. So potentially by Tuesday night, we could, I don't know how soon they release, what was voted on and what's been approved. So we'll see. But this week, I would assume that we'll get something come out from how they voted. But
I saw where Sean McDermott, the coach of the Bills, was like, well, we have to put safety first, even though there's been no injuries from it. They asked Andy Reid about it, and he was like, I mean, it works. Like,
it's effective. Every football team's going to do what's effective.
Another interesting quote I saw that came out of the coaches meeting so far was where Mike McDaniel said he wants to be on the same hot seat that Nick Sirianni was on last year.
Interesting.
Because I guess it led to them winning the Super Bowl. Right. Nick Sirianni really played a pivotal role in that.
I was Mike McDaniel, and I don't have Jalen Hurts. I don't have a Jordan Mailata. I don't have
Saquon Barkley. Like I ain't got nothing.
Yeah. Like I'm probably not saying that.
No, that was not a good look. We have had a ban on the nose wipe celebration. Now, I was unfamiliar. I mean, I knew what that was, but I was unfamiliar that was a violent gesture. Aaron explained to me that does mean you've killed someone.
Yeah, apparently it's a gang sign listen, we have no gang affiliation. We don't know what we're talking about most of the time, but apparently the Bloods, it's their thing.
Yeah, that's what I Aaron told me too.
But so like my question really, how does the NFL keep up on gangs? Like, do they have somebody on payroll that's like, hey, this thing that he did, he's for sure in this gang? Like, how does that even come about?
Well, I tell you, here's what my first concern was. God forbid my nose drips. Like, what? Am I just going to like
you're going to have to pull that little towel off you got and then like
because I seem to have a runny nose a lot. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I'm just like, just now, I need to wipe my nose right now. And I'm like, this would be 15 yards, but I gotta be honest, I didn't kill anyone. I'm just, itchies. So
I know that CeeDee Lamb did it last year, and I only know that because he's been the picture on every article for this thing. I don't remember seeing a lot of players do this last year. I don't remember that being a celebration.
He's the only one I know of too. I mean, I guess it's a thing, but I mean, I guess good on them for I don't know. Like, hey, I got this 15-yard penalty and probably a $35,000 fine. Oh yeah, what'd you do? Did you like hurt someone? Nah, wiped my nose. Yeah, seems rough, but also some more NFL news that made me roll my eyes, to be honest. The Buffalo Bills are now the new focus of a Hallmark movie this year. I literally rolled my eyes when I read this.
I could not love more the coming together of these two worlds. A once-a-year NFL Hallmark movie. Sign me up. Sign me up.
Who's next? I mean, I guess it's whatever next football player dates another pop star. I mean,
why not? Listen, here's the thing. Hallmark realized after they did the Chiefs one last year,
with
that even though Travis and Taylor are not in it, they had the spotlight for last year, but like it does give a highlight to these teams. And I'm sure they've never had a movie do this well before. So again, we're all about striking while the iron's hot. If you can get that audience and get that money, I love it. I love that it's a little bit different of a storyline than what we typically get in Hallmark movies. It's still very predictable, which again is why I love it. But like, have fun. I love it.
But let's be honest. Now, can we please own that a storyline based on Josh Allen and Haley Steinfeld's not going to do anywhere near what one on Taylor and Travis did?
Well, but even the storyline of Taylor and Travis, like that wasn't the storyline of the movie. It was still a completely different plot.
Well, I know, but let's be honest. Why were people watching? They were
100% because everybody was Chiefs fans for the last few years.
Right. So are we all supposed to become a Bills fan now? Like,
I don't know, but Hallmark's getting their money and I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
I guess I won't have my friends in the stands with me this season. I guess they'll be in Buffalo.
They will. They will.
They thought it was cold here. They were complaining about the cold here.
No joke. That's going to be rough.
Yeah. John Harbaugh, 3-year extension in Baltimore.
Yeah. Which is going to make him 65 or 66 when it ends.
I don't guess I realized he was that old because their parents are still alive.
He's 62.
Also, like, when was the last time you delivered something?
Well, was it back in like 2012? Did they do really well? I can't remember.
It's been a long time.
It's been a minute. So, but apparently he's never, because he's going into the last year on his current contract this season. And so apparently they have never allowed him to start the season on his last year. They've always done the extension prior to the start of the season. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's a Ravens thing. Okay. But it did say, and I didn't realize this, but he's the second longest tenured NFL coach behind Mike Tomlin, which that's impressive.
Again, we don't have to deliver to keep our jobs.
Right.
So we have clearly gone in the wrong line of work.
I guess they've had like winning seasons, even though nothing's come of it, meaning Super Bowl wise. But I guess as long as you're not, looking like the Panthers, then we'll keep you.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, we're still on Aaron Rodgers' watch. I did read this morning that apparently he had a throwing session with DK Metcalf this weekend.
Okay. I still don't get it.
Adam Schefter is convinced he's going to, quote, take the year off. At that age, we're taking a year off and we're not just retiring?
Yeah, but that's the Bill Belichick year. No one was truly interested in you, so we took a year off.
Yeah, but then you went to college, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm still very convinced that at Pat McAfee's live show next week, in Pittsburgh, he's going to announce it there that he's signing. I'm just convinced.
Mercy. Listen, if he plays next season, I'll be interested. Because here's the thing. If he crumbles like we all think he's going to, because I don't think he's the leader in a locker room like they need him to be, I think then we can stop the conversation of like, he's still a good football player.
Yeah. I'd hope so.
Just go out, my guy. Yeah.
I'm going to skip down and talk about college football in our notes real quick because I added a few things. First of all, prime time. Deion Sanders got himself quite the extension. Again, didn't do anything, but
here's the thing. He's bringing in a whole bunch of new admissions to that college. He's
Yeah.
bringing in all these people to come watch their games. He's getting them all this media attention, which brings in ad dollars. I'm sure they're trying to keep him as long as they can.
well, I mean, listen, that's a lot of money. I mean, I don't know if you're as rich as Deion Sanders is. I don't know that you notice when it's a lot of money, but that's a lot of money.
I do wonder, like, I guess he's got a lot of endorsement deals, brand deals, and things like that.
Well,
'Cause
he
he
gets
does love
retirement in the
his
NFL
football.
too.
Yeah.
Another retirement still. Also,
That's
I apologize, but I have something coming unplugged that I need plugged.
You have something what?
Okay, sorry. Something was coming unplugged that I needed plugged in.
Oh, I thought you said blood was coming out of plugs. And I was like, I don't understand that sentence at all. What's going on over there?
Well, that would have been a real trip. Okay.
Oh,
No, also, I wanted to talk about something. So I put this
Okay.
in the notes. This whole new, I swear this is new phenomenon of these universities having general managers now.
Right. We talked about that because Bill Belichick was bringing on what's his
Yeah, I
face?
just thought it was like just him, like, but apparently no. Andrew Luck, the former NFL quarterback of about 5 minutes, is the GM back at his alma mater at Stanford. And apparently he's the very first GM in college to fire the head coach. And he's now hired Frank Wright as the interim coach, which was his last coach when he played for the Colts. This is weird. Like,
That he
what
fired him or that he's the GM?
that he's the GM, because no, it sounds like the guy was a real douchebag. Sounds like he was involved in a lot of bad stuff. But no, like, what happens then to like the board of regents or directors or whatever your university calls it? Like, they don't get a say now, or
I'm sure there are certain things like in their bylaws that they get a say in, but I'm sure when it comes to football, because you've got NIL and all of that stuff that you have to deal with, like the board can't keep up with that and the educational piece. That's just not their concern.
it's just too much.
Yeah, I would imagine. Now, I would imagine that like he does still have to take certain things up to certain levels to get approvals on, but I would venture to guess they're more of like we hired you for this, so whatever you're bringing to us, we trust you.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess as one of their alumni he was like, I would say, successful, obviously, in the college realm, not so much in the NFL. I guess it makes sense that he is their GM. It's just, I don't know. I still find it weird.
I mean, I'll be just real interested to see. I think that there probably were some schools that had GMs, but maybe it just didn't take on the type of role that it's now having to take. Because listen, your college athletes are basically like professionals now. Somebody's got to do this.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it's a business now. Like, we're not talking just some college athletes that are in class half the time. Any new thoughts on the NFL draft coming up very quickly?
I think new thoughts. We haven't seen any trades yet in the first round draft picks. Like usually before,
Yeah, they're hinting at a lot of them.
they are hinting at some, and I do think that we will see some the coming up days.
Yeah.
But usually we see a little bit more where they've done some things in free agency, so they're willing to give up that, third, fourth, fifth pick. But I think your teams that have the first few picks are really in desperate need to get some good players in here that they can build up. So I'm just really excited for the draft this year because I think that anything goes this year.
Yeah, it's gonna be a weird year. I just don't think there's not like one person that I would die for my team to get.
100%.
I don't really have that person, or that I'm like super worried about one of our rivals getting.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like,
It is a weird draft to go into because there's always been a few players where you've been like, oh, I really hope they go to this team, or I really hope my team can pick them up. And this year it's kind of like, I'm happy that these guys will get on teams, but I really don't care where they go.
Yeah. Be interesting. Would you like to talk a little bit about March Madness?
Sure. Sounds fun.
Seems like I had a very heated text message from you yesterday.
I think it was heated.
So in our notes, I didn't want to have to type it out or anything. So I just put a little shot of the Duke Alabama score.
Listen, for those of you listening, typically when we would talk about a specific game, whether it be NFL, basketball, whatever the case may be, we would just put like Texas Tech versus Baylor or whatever, and then the score next to it. Because again, that gets the point across. We understand what happened. That's not how Mandy did our notes for this week. There's a big old screenshot of the Duke Alabama score where it's showing that Duke won.
Well, maybe we need to
remind it was unnecessarily aggressive.
Maybe we just need to remind the audience too exactly who did you pick to win the tournament?
I had Alabama going.
Okay. Do you recall? I don't know if you can even remember, but do you recall who I had picked to win the tournament?
I think you had, was it Memphis? I think
no. Yeah, it was Duke. And listen, it's really hard for me. I am a big North Carolina fan, so it is very hard for me. But I did pick Duke, and they did mollywop.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you, Alabama is they did really well.
Yeah.
I don't think they knew how to adjust their game to play Duke. Like they came out playing how they played, and then they would try and get so fast, which Duke does well when you speed up the game. And Bama just could not. Their defense was all over the place.
Yeah, it is a weird Final Four this year. I believe I read, this could be inaccurate, but I believe that I read this is the first time, I think it said in March Madness history, that all 4 of the Final Four teams were number 1 seeds. So we've got Auburn is playing Florida, and then Duke is playing Houston, and then the winner of that will play for the national championship next Monday. So with what we have left, would you like to make a prediction between Auburn and Florida?
Listen, I just don't ever like Auburn. As an Alabama fan. So I think I'm going to go Florida on this one.
Okay. Well, I was going to go Auburn, so that makes sense. And then Duke versus Houston. Clearly, I'm going Duke. And then I need Duke to win the whole thing. But yeah, interesting. And then let's talk a little bit about women's basketball. We didn't even mention the most heartbreaking thing to me last week, did we?
No, we didn't.
So if you know us, we love women's sports. Becca's getting around here with basketball, but I love women's basketball. And Juju Watkins is a sophomore at the University of Southern California, and she is, I know people throw this term around, but legit with her, she is a generational talent. Again, I know that term is way overused, but she is so massively talented. It's insane. And she tore her ACL against Mississippi State, I guess 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
Which is a devastating blow to her, obviously, but also to USC as they're trying to get to the national championship game. And just honestly, she brings in she's kind of the Caitlin Clark now.
Yes.
So she brings in so much to women's basketball on the collegiate level. So I know she'll be back with a vengeance anyway, but
did you see at their last game, all the USC players had Juju Funko Pop heads?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. There's a really cool Juju Watkins Nike shirt out right now that I really want to get. But this tonight, UConn, which if you're not familiar with women's basketball, UConn has for decades now been a top 5 team. They're just incredible. They produce so many of the WNBA players. Paige Bruckers is their star right now. She has declared for the WNBA draft, which I didn't realize she was thinking of not and just going straight to Unrivaled, which I didn't really understand why, but anyway, she's not. She's going to go to the draft, and I would assume she'll be a number 1 pick. She's another one too, though, that has a lot of injuries. But so tonight, UConn will play USC. I really want USC to win. First of all, I just love USC, but I I mean, I want them to win for Juju, but also I just think they're a really good program.
Agreed.
And then UCLA last night beat LSU, which I was sad about. I love Kim Mulkey. I know people think she's controversial because she's pretty vocal and she's obviously flamboyant in what she wears.
Yeah.
Bummed to see this.
Yeah, I mean, she was enjoyable, so I do hate that they're out of it, but
South Carolina beat Duke, which South Carolina, if you don't watch, Dawn Staley, who was huge in women's basketball, she is the head coach at the other USC. So they're in the Final Four. And then tonight, Texas plays TCU. So if you follow women's basketball, Haley Van Leith has been to like 14 teams, I think, pretty much.
yeah.
So now she's with TCU. And then also, I don't know. Do you know who this Sidonia Prince is?
Yeah, and I want TCU to lose because I don't like her. I also don't think she should be on their team, but
yeah. So just so you know, 7 years ago,
she's been playing forever.
She played for Texas.
Yeah,
she had a lot of injuries. She switched schools a lot. It's just absolutely absurd.
Real big in Oregon too when she played for them.
She's also had some legal issues in her
lots of DV cases against her.
Yeah. So anyway, TCU plays Texas tonight. I want Texas to win because I can't stand her. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But all the thoughts and prayers to my wannabe friend Juju Watkins.
That's right.
Would you like to answer some questions?
Would love to.
Let me just double check because my little Taylor alert just went off. Let me just make sure nothing's happened. Nope. Okay. It's just the picture of the Heim sisters again. All right. So first up from Haven, what do y'all have on your list to binge?
Okay. Which I think we've talked about this before. Maybe
yeah.
not.
I think I may have some new answers now. I don't know, but
maybe. So again, you know that I can't take in too much content without being overwhelmed. So my list is, I've got one show.
Okay. What do you have?
But mine is High Potential. I still have not watched that one yet. I know that you've talked about it. Doug has watched it. He said it was really good. So it's on my list. I do want to watch that.
It's a must. I insist.
I've seen so many clips of it on TikTok. And every time I start watching it, I'm real invested. And then I'm like, oh, I don't want to know yet.
It is so good. I mean,
maybe I'll start that one this coming weekend.
I feel like
stuff. Yeah.
I feel like it's needed. So many people have told me I need to watch the show Lioness. It's got Zoe Saldana, Nicole Kidman, Morgan Freeman. It's an American spy thriller. It's Taylor Sheridan that did Yellowstone and Land in Hand. So I want to get into that. It's on Hulu, and the only reason I haven't is I don't know our Hulu login, and I keep forgetting that. But if you were looking for some more suggestions, there are some other things on my list that I honestly probably will never get to. But I really did want to binge Yellow Jackets because it felt like a big pop culture thing that I was left out of.
Okay.
Also, a lot of people find this very surprising with me based on my political background. I've never seen Veep.
I loved Veep.
So I feel like it's one that I should have. And then also, I don't know how this got on my algorithm lately on TikTok. Blue Bloods.
Oh, okay.
I really would I love what I see so far on TikTok. So I feel like, but I feel like there's a lot of seasons, so that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah. That's when it gets overwhelming for sure.
Yeah, I just can't do that.
Yeah.
All right. Next up from Ken. What will it take specifically for the Chiefs to make it back to the Super Bowl this season?
Okay. So we're going to need a couple of things to come together besides the stars aligning.
Right.
We got to stay out of legal trouble.
Oh, yeah.
That's 100%. We got to do that. We got to stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
We need Nagy to pull his head out of his rear end, do some better play calling, utilize all of our players and not just the one or two that you really like. I think that might be the biggest thing that we need to have a heart-to-heart on. And then we need our O-line that actually blocks without holding and without having continuous false starts.
Jawan Taylor's going to need to keep his feet still.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I would agree. with all of that. I do think it'll be interesting to see what Spags does. We've got some new pieces to the defense, and then we've lost some pieces that we've relied on in the past, like Justin Reed.
Yeah.
Tershawn Wharton's another one I think leaves a gap that I don't like on the defensive line. So I think that'll be interesting. I do think whatever's going to happen with Rasheed has got to play out.
Yeah.
So there's that. I think the draft is going to be interesting for the Chiefs to see what pieces we bring in.
I'm interested to see what they go for first. Are we going offensive or defensive?
Yeah, I don't know. Usually I kind of have some inclination, but there's some, I don't know. It's weird. And then really what we do need the offensive line to get their act together this year. That would be real helpful. But we are also going to need Patrick to protect the football this year.
Yeah, that could help us a lot.
He had more turnovers last season than I would really like to see.
Yeah. But I'm going to tell you what, he looks like he's always been one that you see prior to the season starting where he's putting in a lot of off-season work. This year, it seems to be with a vengeance.
Yeah, he seems real mad that they said he had a dad bod.
Real mad.
I'm going to tell you probably the first picture we're going to get from training camp, he's going to not have his shirt on and it's going to be like a washboard of abs. I'm going to tell you right now. I feel it coming. It's
going to be a couple's Sports Illustrated swimsuit.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, from Greg. What remedies do you have / suggest for the state of the NCAA, the transfer portal, and the NIL for starters? Oh, Greg. We don't even have enough time. But
right. Listen, I think, and we've talked about this before, I think with the transfer portal, we've got to put some parameters around that. The window cannot open until after bowl season. That needs to be a hard and fast rule. I also think there needs to be a limit on how many times you can enter it. And then once you enter it and you go to another team, I don't necessarily know that I agree that you need to sit out a whole season, but I do think that you need to sit out for part of it. Like, we can't make it so appealing that every other week we can just jump into a portal and be like, well, I don't like it here, so I'm going to go here. That doesn't work. So I really wish they would get some parameters put on that. I think with NIL, listen, you guys are treating these kids in college like they are on the payroll. They are treated like any other NFL player. So then let's go all in on it. You sign a contract. You are here for 3 years. This is the amount of money you get in NIL. If you do this, or this, immediately it's terminated. You cannot play. You cannot enter the portal. You got to stay here. Like, we've got to start. There has to be repercussions. If we're going to get in legal trouble, if we're going to act a fool, Georgia needs to have some kind of something related to a driving course that they all need to take.
Yes.
But you've got to start teaching these people that you have expectations that you have to follow. And just because you don't get your way, or just because you don't start all the games that you want to start, you're still going to get your money, but there has to be a give and take here. So I think if we just start putting them on contracts as if they're employees, then maybe that could solve some of it. It's not going to solve all of it, but we got to do something.
Well, I have said on here before, I hate both. I hate the transfer portal and I hate NIL. With the transfer portal, I agree. There needs to be some regulations, some checks and balances. I've said this before on here. Back when I was in high school, I went to a private school and we were always accused of recruiting because kids would leave public schools and come to our school, and we were a really big sports school.
Yeah.
It's not recruiting when they have to pay to go to school there. Now, were there scholarships and stuff like that? I don't know. Here nor there. But I think but what you did have to do is, if you transferred within the same district, same league, application, you did have to sit out a year. There were plenty of people that did that because it was worth it for them. But there were a lot of kids that did not, because missing that 1 year was pivotal, especially in high school. You get 3-4 seasons at most. It's not like college now, but I think that requirement of having to miss a season I think it's a good move, because especially if you're switching schools within the same conference, I just don't agree with that. It's kind of like in the NFL when we lose a player to the Bills or the Bengals. Yeah. I'm like, oh, so they're not going to go tell them our playbook?
Exactly.
Sure. I don't buy that. So I do think that there should be something like that. And it's not like a punishment, but it really is. It gives that team that you're leaving time to change up their names of their plays and things like that.
Yep.
So I do agree with that. Also, I am 100%. The fact that there are people like Sidonia Prince that are on like literally 7th year in college, like
we gotta nip that real quick.
It's not like these are grown adults. They're older than people in the professional level. It's just not right. And with the NIL, again, I agree that they get compensated for their name, image, and likeness.
100%.
If these universities are making money off these kids, they deserve to be paid. But the amount of money they're being paid is absolutely absurd, and it does a disadvantage to schools that can't keep up. And so I think there should be a cap on how much NIL money you can make.
Sure.
Now, that's going to require a lot of checks and balances, a lot of regulations. It's going to require a whole group of people that investigates it. But it's only fair, because it's not fair for a school that can't afford it when you've got schools like Texas and every kid's driving a Lamborghini. That's just not fair.
Yeah.
And that's not the point of college sports.
No, it's kind of taking away the enjoyment of it. Like, I don't want to see when we get practice videos of you like showing us your Rolex that you're wearing during the, like, it's too much. Just play the sport.
I would say that this draft class in the NFL, like that we're about to have, this is the first class that I would say this NIL has been so prevalent with.
Yes.
And don't you find it interesting how we are not even that concerned with what's happening? Because we're so worn out with them from their college careers.
Yep.
So I just think it's something to keep in mind.
There's a correlation there.
I don't know, Greg. Somebody needs to call us, though.
Yeah.
Okay, this is from Claire. Can we break down Chapel Roan? I'm curious on your opinions on her music and personality and media appearances. I would love, really, Claire, if you would have told us in advance what you thought our opinions were going to be. But
I would love to know what people think our opinions are before we say it.
I'll let you go ahead.
They just go straight to, like, they're going to hate it.
Yeah. Like with this one, I'm like, did Claire know in advance, or like what were you thinking?
Again, this comes down to age. Chapel Roan is more of like this newer generation, newer music. I don't personally, and you and I have talked about this before, I don't really enjoy when people do the whole costumes and makeup to try and look different, to say, well, I'm just expressing myself. Well, no, you're going for shock value. Yeah. And you're going to try and stay in the main media, which is what everybody's doing. So you're no different than the rest of them. Yeah. So I don't love that. I don't feel like she's being authentic to herself, because I feel like she's trying to play this character. Mm-hmm. And I just thoroughly enjoy artists when they're just truly who they are. That's what makes you unique. You trying to go out and do all this weird, crazy stuff, like, that's not you. That's not something you're going to keep up forever.
Yeah.
So I don't love that. I do think that her music is catchy.
Yeah.
But here's my thing. I need to hear her sing like a ballad, because you can have a decent voice and have a catchy song, and that's great. But like, is your voice actually good? Can you do other types of music? I don't know that you could. As much as I don't thoroughly enjoy Billie Eilish, when you put her on a ballad, she does have a very pretty voice, and you can't deny that. Like, so that's kind of my thing. I don't love Chapel Roan when she does like her media interviews. I saw a few clips when she was on Call Her Daddy, and I was like, you are so detached from reality. It's almost like you don't answer a question with an authentic, true to yourself answer. You answer a question thinking, what's going to get a sound bite in the media so that I sound different or I look unique? So not a fan.
I'm curious, just because I have never looked at this. I want to see how old. Do you know how old she is?
I don't.
I'm going to look it up real quick because I'm just
I
curious.
would venture to guess early 20s, right?
She's 27.
Oh.
Oh my gosh, we have the same birthday.
Much older than I thought she was.
By George, yeah, way older than I thought.
I guess I expected a little bit more maturity from a 27-year-old. I would have guessed 22.
That's where I was leading. We have the same birthday. A few differences here and there. Yeah, so yes, Pink Pony Club, songs like that are very catchy.
Yeah.
See how it's a vibe. I do not enjoy Chappell Roan's music because that's not my cup of tea. Like I don't like I'm not so, like in the Taylor world. Like Style is not my favorite song, right?
Yeah.
It's not the poppy, like catchy, like I don't know. It's just not my thing. So that's no slam to her. That's just not my preference. Yeah, her aesthetic though is just too much. Too much. And this goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Yeah, like with Kanye. Like if you can't rely on just your talent alone, then you're not who you think you are, you know? And the fact that she like so flamboyantly changes things and says things tells me that she doesn't have a clue who she is. And she's not secure in her own skin. The other thing that really irks me about Chappell Roan, though, I don't give two craps about her sexuality or any of that. But what drives me nuts about her is the constant bitching about being a celebrity.
Right?
All you do is complain about fans.
Yeah.
What in the world did you think was going to happen? And why are you still in this business?
Why did you even want to get into this if you know you can't handle people?
I do not understand at all. It is the weirdest thing I've seen. Like, I don't get it. And yes, I did not watch the whole thing of her on Call Her Daddy because, again, I don't like her. But I did see a lot of the clips. And honestly, like, not to sound like an old woman, but like, when are we going to keep some things private? Like,
yes,
it annoys me that we get nothing from Taylor, but then I'm super annoyed that we get way too much from Chappell Roan. Like,
it's
I don't need to know these things.
I feel like Patrick and Brittany Mahomes are the perfect balance. I still kind of see you out and about. You give us some things on your Instagram, but like the details of your family business and your personal, like, I don't need to know that, but like, I do feel like I get a glimpse of who you are.
Yeah.
But some of these people are just putting all their business on social media and interviews. And I'm just like, what?
Yeah. And first of all, I don't need the graphics of a lot of things, but so as far as Chappell Roan, I mean, yeah, to your point, like, yeah, it's like Billie Eilish. We know that I don't like Billie, but Billie can freaking sing.
Yes.
I also don't like the theatrics that Lady Gaga puts on. But Lady Gaga can sing. So that's what I need to see. I need to see that without auto-tune, without, the full production, can you really sing?
Right.
Do you really have talent? Yeah. And maybe she does, and that's fantastic. But to me, that's being far overshadowed by this aesthetic that she wants to pull off. That, like, I just don't even get it. The storyline is just tiring to me. That I'm from this little judgmental small town in Missouri, and blah blah blah. It's a tired story. Like it is the rest of the world.
No longer special or unique.
No, it's like the story of pretty much everyone. So okay. So great question though. We had no thoughts and opinions, Claire. Nothing. All right, you ready for some Y factor?
Let's do it.
I just had a very bad feeling that I potentially used one of my thing that I'm liking this week last week, and I don't recall if I did.
Well, I'll let you know if you did.
Okay, great. Okay. All right, so, what are you not liking?
What I'm not liking? Oh God, my whole body at this age has just given up.
Yeah, it's not a good.
I feel like this last week has just been a slap in the face of like, Rebecca, you're almost 40. Like, and everything if I don't lay at the right angle at night, my hip feels like it's out of place. We did a whole bunch of yard work this weekend. I don't know what crazy wild hair we got. And we were like, let's redo all of our landscaping. But Doug and I don't like to spend money on things that we can just do ourselves. So like we just bought all the stuff and did all of the work ourselves. Well, he's 42. I'm almost 40. Like, and we have sedentary jobs.
Yeah.
I don't know what made us think we could go out and do all this manual labor, but we were in the yard on Saturday from 8 o'clock in the morning until 2:30 in the afternoon, ripping out bushes, cleaning up old dirt and rocks and old mulch and putting all this new stuff down. Like, we're too old for this. We know better. And then like my body is just old. And so my iron was really low, which again, I was like, I feel 80 that I know that.
Yeah, you texted me about your iron and I just chuckled. I was like, weird. This is sad.
It was like I would work for 5 minutes and then my vision would go real blurry and I would get dizzy. So I kept having to lean down to regulate. The back of my legs from how often I was leaning down hurts so bad.
I thought you were going to say they were sunburned or something.
No, I'm so sore from it. I was like, I feel like I can't even complain because I feel like I'm 80. And I remember the days when we could do whatever and sleep on whatever pillow and whatever bed and be totally fine. And I'm just mentally, I don't feel old, but my body is trying to remind me that like, no, you're halfway there, sister.
Yeah, I kind of go, it depends on the week really and like what's happening in life. But I lately have felt old in my brain.
Yeah.
Body is like, my brain, I'm like, am I forgetting things? Am I like?
Well, apparently that's a symptom of perimenopause. Listen, we're at that age.
I've got a lot of things
too.
But since I've had a hysterectomy, am I going to go through
this? Sure, I read that you will still go through this stuff.
Oh, gosh. Well, this really seems like something someone should have told me.
I know, because I was like, maybe I should just go tell my doctor I just want a hysterectomy. Like, just take it all out.
Well, I mean,
if there are any men listening to this episode, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you can skip this part, but I am a full advocate of it. But now that I know that might still happen, I don't know.
I know, we need to do some research. We're not medical doctors.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I was texting this weekend. The surgeon that did my hysterectomy is a good friend of ours back in Arkansas. And I was texting her about, an issue. And she was like, oh, yeah, you need to get that checked. And I was like, everything is that you need to get it checked. There's nothing that's like, oh, don't worry about it.
No.
Like 10 years ago, I swear if I'd texted any of my medical friends, and don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Now it's always get it checked.
I know.
I'm like, well, what's going to take me out first? I don't know. Like,
it's my annual in a couple of weeks. And I literally have a note in my phone of like all the things I need to tell her about. I know. At this point, I feel like I just need to take her to lunch. We're gonna have to chat for a while.
Yeah, can we have some coffee? This feels awkward. Right. You know.
Yeah. I like it.
Okay, so this is a weird one for me. Because last year I was actually a fan of this person, I thought.
Oh.
There's a podcast out there called Straight to Cam. It's with Cameron Brink.
Okay.
And Sidel Curry, who is the sister of Steph and Seth Curry. Cameron Brink is like, her godparents are Steph Curry's parents. So like they're all intertwined. Anyway, Cameron has a podcast. And last year I was a big fan.
Yes.
I'm not a fan anymore. If you don't know and you haven't seen, your algorithm has blessed you this past week. They had Kayla Nicole on last week.
Oh, why?
Well, Kayla just won whatever that TV show was she was on. It was like Survivor-esque kind of thing.
Yeah.
Again, this is not a 15-yard penalty. My nose just itches. But they had her on, I guess, because she won. They're big fans of Kayla Nicole.
Oh, Lord.
You're not familiar with who Kayla Nicole is. God bless you. Wow. It's Travis Kelce's ex from several years ago now.
Several.
And she's a real winner.
She's
a pretty girl. I'm not denying that, but
she can't stand on her own.
Oh, well, you do not want to see this episode. And I've not even seen the whole thing because I couldn't stomach it.
Yeah.
You just were doting on her like I swear you would if you're like you just had an infant.
What?
It was just, oh my gosh, it was nauseating. I think even if I had liked Kayla, it would have been nauseating how much they were doting on her.
Interesting.
So, Cameron, you're done.
Yeah.
You're done. But then I have a second one. Okay, so I did a binge this weekend. It's a show that I want to say was only 3 episodes, maybe 4. I don't know if there's going to be more. I probably should have done some research. This was on Netflix, and it kept saying it was number 1 on my Netflix. So I was like, check it out. It's called Adolescence.
I've heard a lot of people mentioning that they watched this. I have no idea what the storyline is.
So I don't know if there's going to be more, but if there's not, like, what kind of ending was that? So it's about this kid. He's 13 in the UK, and a girl ends up dead, and they have video of him where it appears to be him brutally stabbing her and killing her. Goes to this private prep school thing, so of course some friends, it seems like maybe they're part of it. One of them definitely had the knife, is where he got the knife. But it's really also, I mean, that's that storyline. And then his parents have a storyline. And then actually the police officer that arrested him, he has a storyline. So there's a lot there that they could do something with, and nothing happened in 3 episodes.
Oh.
And I don't know if there's going to be more. Then that's why. But if there's not, and that was it, it is terrible. Like,
listen, if we've invested 3 episodes into a show, you got to give us something.
Well, and my brain was going 400 miles a minute of things that could happen with this storyline, all these different ones. I'm like, you could do so much here. So I need to know. I should have looked it up if something more is happening. Also, I don't know what's happening. I'm itching all over. I think an itchy issue. So yeah, that was I don't know. Again, it was interesting, and so I wanted to see it play out, but
it's number 1 for a reason.
It didn't do anything. So those were my dislikes. What are you liking this week?
So what I'm liking this week is a documentary and a movie that I saw this weekend. So I watched on HBO Max. It's called A Body in the Snow: The Trial of Karen Reed. Do you remember? I'm sure you've heard about Karen Reed in the media and the trial where she is on trial for supposedly killing her Boston Police Department boyfriend.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know her name, but yeah.
Okay. So she's already had 1 trial. It ended in a mistrial. So I believe they're going back to trial in April this year. So right now I've seen all the clips on TikTok of like, what evidence can we let into this trial? What evidence can't be brought into this one? So it was very interesting because I kind of read like tidbits here and there in the news while she was in trial the first time. And I kept seeing all these people saying like, she's innocent. She's completely innocent. They're saying that she's being framed by several people within Boston PD. So I was like, well, let me watch this documentary so I at least get like the basis for what's going on before the second trial starts. And I'm going to tell you, like Karen Reed herself, she's from Boston. That's a very different personality than those of us in the South. Okay? So I'm going to say like how she kind of portrays herself and thinks of things or says things. I'm like, you just don't make yourself like super likable. But also by the time this documentary was filmed, like the first trial was over. We're 3 years removed from his death. Like she's had time to process things.
Yeah.
But then watching it, I'm like, oh, I don't think she did this at all. 100% she looks like she was framed. So I'm going to be real interested to see this next trial and how that goes. But the documentary was so good because it was basically her lawyers talking on this documentary. She had a good chunk, but they also had some of his friends. It was very well done. So I really liked it. I think it was 5 episodes.
I sure did not know that we might think she was innocent. I thought that was a slam dunk.
No, not even close to a slam dunk.
Oh, I'm going to check that out.
It very much looks like a setup. So, but no, I would definitely recommend it. It's 5 episodes. I want to say they're like 45 minutes long each. But it does give you the whole story. So it was really good. So I watched that. And then last night I watched a movie on Netflix called The Life List. Oh, it was so freaking good.
Okay, so this came up on my TikTok algorithm, and I see some clips of it.
I had too, and I was like, I've got to watch this whole thing.
Yeah.
I had watched a lot of clips on TikTok, and so I thought, basically, did I see the whole thing? I didn't. It was so, so good. It's got Sophia Carson, which she didn't seem like a named character to me. Connie Britton was the only one in this movie that I was like, oh, I know who that is. It was such a good movie about this girl whose mom passes away, and then she has to go through this life list in order to get her inheritance. So it just shows like the whole family dynamics while she's also working through. It was so good. that I was like, oh, I'm so glad that I took the time because I don't just like turn on brand content.
That's funny. I kept seeing the clips of it. I guess it was yesterday, and so I actually Googled to see like what happens in the story.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I just need to know because I probably won't have time to watch it.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. Wonder how our algorithms synced up.
I don't know because normally it's similar.
Really different.
Sometimes it's real different.
Okay.
Definitely to watch.
Last week, did I talk about AP Bio last week?
No.
Okay. So there is this TV show called AP Bio. It's got several seasons, maybe even 4. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's got Glenn Howerton in it. He is was a Harvard professor and loses his job. So he moves back to Toledo, Ohio to his hometown and is working at the local high school teaching. It's got kind of a Glee vibe because of the high school student dynamic because they're very much part of the story. I mean, they're predominantly the story with him.
Yeah.
It's kind of got that vibe, but it's complex. They all have complex stories. His story is complex. Anyway, Aaron found it. I don't know how, but I'm loving it. It is so good. It's one of those ones. I think there's 4 seasons, so it's going to be a commitment. I'm probably going to need to just Google and see what all happens. But I really
have a few episodes of it. Doug has watched it. He likes it. Both of the boys have actually watched it, and I was like, oh, okay.
Well, yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's funny that there's some parts where you're like, oh, what to say?
Yeah.
That's what I got.
Listen, we are coming in great with all these recommendations.
I know. We really
football season was just going to be a downer, but we've really made it okay for ourselves.
Yeah, we're hanging in there. We've got Coachella coming up.
We do. Do you think that Taylor and Travis will go? I think it'll be harder to go this year. Last year, nobody expected it, so it was maybe a little bit easier on their security.
Only reason I'm going to go no is because now I haven't checked in a while, but I don't think the bleachers, Sabrina, I feel like they went because they were there.
Yeah.
But he's got all those random friendships, with
yes, he does.
So I don't know. I haven't fully looked at who all's going to be there, but I'm going to go no because they are very much in their not being seen era.
They really are.
And no, I don't think it's because she's pregnant. For the love of God. Y'all can't stop.
I have to get up with some reason. There has to be a reason. I think they're just living life.
I mean, how was she just I guess you can ski when you're pregnant, but she was hardcore skiing in Montana.
Listen, if she had been pregnant in Montana, we'd have gotten a picture.
Yeah. Come on now. I still am shocked, however, that no one in Montana took a picture.
Nobody. They had to have been at an all just total celebrities. Nobody's taking pictures of anybody.
Well, I know some people that were there at the same time. So, which they did not see them either. They just missed them. And I mean, I don't call them celebrity. I mean, I guess they could kind of be, but yeah, I don't know. Y'all are better people than me. Maybe they did take pictures and they sent them to their friends. That's me. I'm not going to put it on the internet, but I mean,
right. I think that's how you and I would be. If I could sneak a picture, I'm just sending it to you. I'm not trying to get it to TMZ or DeuxMoi.
Yeah, we yesterday we were driving home from church and we go through this area where a lot of times a lot of the Chiefs players are eating. And there was a lot of police presence. And Aaron was like, do you think? And I was like, I don't know. And he was like, you want to swing through? And I was like, nah, let's just go on home.
Oh, shoot. I mean, if you didn't have a car full of children, maybe.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Well, and my thing was if we were going to eat, maybe, but it's weird that we would just drive through the,
right?
We wouldn't see them. We wouldn't know. So,
yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all I got.
Okay. Well, I feel like that was a lot of good info we just got, guys.
I mean, hey.
You're welcome.
Yeah, exactly. Y'all can just send your paychecks. Our NIL money can come wherever you'd like to send it.
That's right. We're not picky.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for listening.
Bye, y'all.